Good evening, everybody. Apologize for the little bit of tardiness from our executive committee meeting. I'd like to call this meeting of the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission meeting for Monday, May 10th, 2021 at 5 p.m. plus a few, provided by Zoom. If we could have the roll call, as I can see that all our members are
all present,
accounted for. Including our liaison. Dahlia is here as well. Tom Domkowski is here as well. So I would say that we are all here and accounted for, and we have a quorum. Next on the agenda, the minutes of the 4/12/21 Zoom executive session and regular meeting. I would ask for collectively if there are any corrections, deletions, or additions to said meeting minutes of those two meetings. I would entertain.
Move we approve as presented.
Thank you, Ken. And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Chris?
Yes.
I sent out last week a new statute that actually went into effect on January 1st. It says every type of roll call, every type of vote that you request on all of these electronic meetings have to be done individually by roll call. So I know that's going to add things up on that, but you need to ask each individual member if they approve or not approve.
All right. So thank you. That's nice. That's nice. So 1 second, please.
Chris, I'll be prepared next time with a sheet, and I can call roll if you like, rather than doing that.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So, Alan, would I be able to get the minutes of the executive and the regular meeting by individual, or do I need to do those individually?
I think you can do them both together as long as it's, again, as long as the motion is that way and then everybody approves it individually.
Yeah. So again, going back to the minutes of the 4/12/21 Zoom executive session and regular meeting, I would ask for approval from Angie Nelson-Deutsch.
Aye, yes.
Ken Barrett.
Yes.
I have Angie twice. Michael Mack.
Yes.
And I have, where's my friend? John Hendricks.
Here. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. And Chris Chatfield, I as well. So all are approved. And so the minutes of the 4/12/21 Zoom executive and regular meeting have been approved. Skylar claims for May 2021.
Okay. Everybody hear me okay? Okay. April 2021, we had payroll for CDBG reimbursables, staff and commissioners. We had from the redevelopment operating fund, we had Alan Saranac for monthly retainer for April 2021. We also had the Great American Financial, which is copier fees for April 2021. From the North TIF fund, we had Baker Tilly for professional services regarding the North TIF reporting. Beam Longest and Neff for station block acquisition. Department of Waterworks for utilities at 1215 East 2nd Street. Jaden Fogus for station block relocation expenses. We had NDOT for Singing Sands Phase 2 removal of shipping containers. We had LaPorte County Herald Dispatch for notice of offering sheet for 1215 East 2nd Street. LaPorte County Herald Dispatch for notice of offering sheet for 8th and Michigan. LaPorte County Appraisals for appraisal of 1010 Franklin. Michigan City Area Schools Technology Grant 2021 Pay, North TIF. Midwest Electric Lighting and Signal Control at 11th and Franklin. Neighborhood Capital Institute for contract extension and transition services. NIPSCO for utilities at 1215 East 2nd Street. Plouffe, Shadley, Racher, and Braun for environmental costs of recovery. Plouffe, Shadley, Racher, and Braun for 1002 Franklin Street. We have PR's Land Care for landscape maintenance, various North TIF properties. Serenity Law Offices, Legal Services, North TIF, April 2021. We had Johnny Tunstall for station block relocation expenses. Wallach, Summers, and Haas for legal services for the You Are Beautiful site. Wallach, Summers, and Haas for legal services for 1215 East 2nd Street. In the North TIF add-ons for approval, we have David Santana for station block acquisition, Johnny Tunstall for station block acquisition, Lakeside Cottages for station block acquisition, 106 East 11th Street for station block acquisition, and Bassam Abdullah for station block acquisitions. In the South TIF fund, we had Baker Tilly for professional services in the South TIF reporting, Barnes and Thornburg for legal services in the South TIF ending 3/31/21, Michigan City Area Schools for the technology grant 2021 pay and the South TIF, and PR's landscape or PR's land care for landscape maintenance and various TIF properties. U.S. Bank administrative fees for 2015 refunded bond. Northeast TIF funds, Baker and Tilly for professional services in the Northeast TIF reporting, and the 2018 Ohio Street bonds, U.S. Bank acquisition 38 for Baker and Tilly arbitrage rebate.
So I'd ask the commissioners if there are any questions concerning the claims docket. I do have one question after any other commissioners' questions.
If I could just say that if you got whatever you decide to approve or not approve, if we could hold off on the North TIF fund station block acquisitions until later on, and we take those up individually after a brief discussion on all of them.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Skylar? I do have one, but any other commissioners with questions for Skylar on the claims? Hearing none. Skylar, can you address the NDOT, the removal of shipping containers for $15,000?
Yes. So
where was that?
I was going to cover that in my, it's a change order, and we spoke about that change order, I think back in, I looked at the minutes. I believe it was in December of last year. We spoke about it, and we're building Singing Sands Trail near Peanut Bridge, and they found shipping containers that were buried under the ground. They had to be remediated, tested, removed in order to put the new boardwalk going down toward Waste Inc. Those have been removed. We didn't know the price at the time. Right now, NDOT picked up 80% of that cost of removal, and we're paying so the change orders for the 15, we only end up paying 15 grand. I think originally we thought it was going to be about 30 to 40,000, and we didn't know at the time because it was an unforeseen something that we didn't see. We thought it was just an embankment there, and it was actually something buried under the ground, shipping a train car.
One car
full of a lot of metal shavings and a lot of other things that had to be remediated.
Whose property was that?
I don't know if I want to say publicly, but we bought it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so any other questions or concerns from the commission concerning the claims for May of 2021?
Move we approve the claims.
A second.
The station block acquisitions, with the exception of the station block acquisitions.
Thank you. We'll hold off on that until further discussion. So I have a motion and a second. I would go back to the new regulation or ordinance. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barrett.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield. Aye. Michael Mack.
Aye.
And John Hendricks.
Aye.
Thank you. All in favor? We're all in favor. The motion passes. Thank you for that work. Next on the agenda, the financial report for 3/31/21. Skylar?
This is the MC Department of Redevelopment balance sheet. Cash Operating accounts, we have $209,464.50. The South Side TIF account has $6,498,047.44. The South TIF Debt Reserve account has $336,128. Southside TIF Capital account has $17,177.13. The North End TIF account has $4,405,793.45. Wabash Street Streetscape Construction, $122,043.15. Wabash Street Streetscape Debt Reserve, $215,852.05. The Northeast TIF account has $295,460.15. Loans receivable, a loan to East Side TIF from operating account for $21,028.49, and the County Business Loan Fund, $133,333.00. Total assets for $12,254,327.36.
Do you want to go through the income and expense as well? Skylar?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Do you want to go through the income and expense or no?
Oh, no.
Okay, that's fine.
I've
Okay,
got-
so yeah, that's fine.
I've got a question on the income and expense. Skylar, on
Okay.
the South Side TIF, we have refunds of,
Let me look real quick. Give me a second. Refunds, got it. Ken, you faded out on us.
Ken, we're not getting it.
120.
Ken, could you repeat? We're not getting any of the audio. Could I ask everybody that's not speaking to put themselves on mute, please? We lost. Where's Ken? There's Ken.
Hello.
Okay. What's the question, Ken?
The refunds on the Southside TIF at 242,000 and Southside TIF.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Let me look and see what that is, Ken, if that's okay.
Okay.
I think I know what it is, but I don't want to speak out of turn.
So Ken, can we get that to you?
Yeah, that's
offline?
fine. That's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, and there's a refund in the North Side TIF as well.
Right.
I'm pretty positive I know what those are, but I want to make sure that I get you the correct information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd ask for a motion with respect to the
message for 2192146.
Can we put our phones on mute, please? The financial report for 3/31/21. I'd look for a motion in a second, please.
It's motion to accept.
I think, yeah.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So we will go down to the vote. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barrett.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. We are all in favor. The motion is approved for the financial report of 3/31/21. Item number 6, request to utilize redevelopment owned lots.
Chris, if I sent an email out earlier, we finished up the bond refunding last week.
Yes.
Yes.
And if we could do, and at the end of that, Andy gave a good summary, and I said, could you repeat that at the meeting next week? So I've invited Andy along, and I think that would be a good, just as a good segue into at the end of the financial reports, and he could just give us an update on, or a summary of what transpired last week.
That's great. Yep.
Sure, thanks for having me. I'm going to go ahead
Thanks,
and
Andy.
share my screen quickly, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Again, I'm Andy Mauser with Baker Tilly. Can everyone see that okay? Are the numbers coming through? Okay, perfect. So as Alan mentioned, we did go through, I know we've talked at a couple of previous meetings about potential savings on your refunding of your 2011 Elston Grove and 2015 Wabash Street bonds. We were able to actually price those bonds last Tuesday, May 4th, looking to close on those on May 19th, but we're able to realize very substantial savings for the city and for the Redevelopment Commission. So I wanted to just give you an update on those here quickly. I'm going to kind of go through them individually and then more on an aggregate basis, because I think that'll kind of show you the overall savings. But the first one here is your 2011 Elston Grove bonds. There's really kind of three parts to the savings. We were able to reduce your interest rate. So, you know, very similar to a home mortgage refinancing, taking a higher existing rate, locking you into a lower rate going forward, and then saving money on an annual basis. Another piece of that is, as you're probably aware, on your existing TIF bond issues, you have debt service reserve funds, which is you know, typically 1 year's annual payment that's set aside through the life of the bond issue. And we were able to free up those, so you're no longer having to fully cash fund those reserves. And those reserves were to the tune of you know, $500,000 on your 2011 Elston Grove and over $200,000 on your Wabash Street 2015 bonds. So able to free up and borrow about $700,000 less between the two on those as well. And then there were some remaining funds, especially on the 2015 Wabash Street bonds, that were you know, essentially just unused construction money that wasn't needed for those projects. So kind of while we were doing the cleanups on the refinancing, we did go ahead and apply those leftover monies and reduce the borrowing as well. So here on this first page, you can see on the 2011 Elston Grove bonds, we were able to reduce your annual payments of about $250,000, or actually your semi-annual payments about $250,000 every 6 months. On your first 3.5 payments or so, we were actually able to get rid of your principal repayment on those. So pretty substantial reduction on the front end of those bonds. Your net present value savings in today's dollars, net of all the issuance costs and costs associated with the refinancing, was about $150,000. But again, with freeing up those cash reserves, actually reduces your total payments over the remaining 7 years by about $700,000. So pretty substantial there. On the 2015 Wabash Street bonds, able to reduce those payments substantially through the remaining 18 years. So net present value basis, about $71,000 benefit, but again, with freeing up those reserves, talking about nearly $600,000 in actual reduction of payment. So looking at them on an aggregate basis, total net present value benefit of nearly $219,000, but I think what really illustrates it here is that $1.3 million. Over the next 18 years, you'll pay about $1.3 million less than what you were scheduled to pay on your two existing bonds as they were currently structured. So pretty substantial reduction. You know, as I mentioned there, your remaining payments go from just under $7.5 million to just right around $6.1 million. And when you look at that, how that kind of fits into, you know, with both of these payable from your Northern TIF, that's an additional $1.3 million that will be, you know, freed up for cash flow from your Northern TIF. So that just increases kind of your coverage levels as far as, you know, what you're collecting each year compared to what you're paying on your existing 2019 bonds, which were unaffected by the refinancings, and then the two that we just talked through. So over the next 7 or 8 years, you'll have, you know, nearly $3 million remaining on an annual basis for other projects, other uses. And then as I mentioned, your coverage levels remain, very high. So for the, to the extent you have other projects that you would look to bond for in the future, you've got definitely the capacity to do that there. So, very successful refinancings. And like I said, pretty substantial savings were realized from both of those. So be glad to answer any questions on any of that.
Andy, that's great news. I appreciate all your hard work on this. And I think it was very wise that we moved forward with this project the way we did. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, I'd ask if there are any commissioners or comments at this time. Hearing none, I'd ask for anybody in the public if they have any questions concerning this refinance that we did. I don't think we need a motion for this. I think this was information purposes only. So, Andy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alan, I would go back to the request to utilize redevelopment owned lots. Number one is Lebesnick for the Arts. Or this was Skylar, maybe, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so right now we have some requests before us for use of some of our city lots. It's a very typical request that we get. You may recall that we own some lots, the You Are Beautiful lots, which is directly next door to the City Hall. And then we do own some lots down on 7th Street. And like I said, this is a very common ask of us. So anyways, without further ado, I'll hand it over to the Lebesnick. The Lebesnick Center for the Arts is on first, and we'll go in order. And Janet Block is here to represent them.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Skylar. I'm Janet Block from Lebesnick Center for the Arts. And thank you for hearing my request. Basically, I'm asking for the north end of, let me say that differently, the north half of the You Are Beautiful lot to be utilized for our volunteer and artist parking for 3 days during our art festival. The festival is 2 days, August 21st and 22nd, but the artists come to set up on the 20th. And parking is hard to come by more and more. So those are really the requests for the 3 days. 2 years ago when we did it, I believe I signed something with Alan about the liability. And I know that redevelopment is being put on our certificate of liability during the festival. I guess just to, and also we had it marked well, and I believe there was a chain that we put across so that people could not park south of, on the south half of the lot. That was put up by the city. I don't have chain that would probably scale that width of the lot, so I will need some help. I'm hoping that Skylar will help me with that. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions from commissioners? Skylar, any comments from you on this?
I would just say that this is a typical request. A few years ago, the Lebesnick Center reallocated the way they did the festival, and it just made sense the way they're shutting down the streets, that this piece of the lot be incorporated into the festival itself. We've used it, or they've used it in the past for parking. It gets used for parking on numerous occasions, 4th of July, even Memorial Day weekend sometimes. We put up the fence proactively to just basically keep people away from the art installation and off the hump of that installation. So it's a common request, and this approval just basically says, yes, we're giving them approval. Then they would have to work with Alan to make sure that all the documents are in order that are required of the city. I will say that Janet has already received approval from the Board of Works to put the project forward and to close the streets, and insurance that's required of that as well. So it's it's kind of like a two-step process.
Yep. Very good.
I move for approval for use of the north side of the You Are Beautiful site, of the Arts Festival.
Second.
We have a first and a second. I'd ask for a vote. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barrett.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. All in favor. The motion passes. Jenna, thank you very much. We appreciate, I can just tell you that what you do for Michigan City and the wonderful things that you guys do, it's always a good thing to have arts in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we are hoping, just so you all know, we're hoping that we make the festival free this year. But if not, you're all invited on me. So hope that doesn't cross any political lines.
It probably does, but
it probably does.
Yeah.
So
somehow.
All right.
So,
thank you all so
thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jen. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Next on our agenda, we have static age records, and I know that isn't quite what the event is. Dan, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
But we do have Dan Daly here tonight, representing. I think it's called World Record Day. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's called Record Store Day.
Record Store. Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
this is a lot we've owned in downtown. We've had numerous events on it, and I think it's nice to see events come to our downtown as we've been without them for a year and some months here. So, anyways, I'll hand it over to Dan and to tell us a little bit about the proposal.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. My name is Dan. I'm representing Static Age Records. We're located at 621 Franklin Street. We're asking for approval to have an event on July 17th. It's a Saturday. Record Store Day is a global event to certain records are released exclusively for the store. And we want to have live music, bring something more to the community. And it's like a customer appreciation. So we're gonna have live bands and possibly a Shoreline Brewery, Burnham Brewery, and get some local food trucks involved. And we want to use the lot at 7th and Franklin, right next door to the record shop.
Any Dan, is it a free event, or can you tell us a little bit about the event? Like what, is it just a...
Yeah, so I will be... we open the store at 7 in the morning. We stay open till 5. In the past, it's just people come in and buy records, and we want to expand that and just have, we want to have something more for the community and for people that are shopping at our store. It'll be an all-day event. I mean, the music probably wouldn't start till about noon.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Okay. Sounds like a lot of fun.
I have a question. So it'll be a free event on the day.
Yes.
And you talked about food trucks, and you talked about possible breweries. So is this something that has to go to the Board of Works, or if there's no street closures, is there anything that has to be done?
I would say there's probably some other things he's going to have to do. And yes, I think he's on the Board of Works agenda next time, if I'm not mistaken, Dan.
2 weeks.
And then I've Angie, just so you know, I've kind of went over other things like ATC, things of that nature with Dan. I've talked to him about how, how to lay out the event and how we've done it with other Main Street. Just give him some ideas about how to do that.
Okay, sounds good. It's a free event, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good event.
Yeah, this is our first time doing something like this, so I'm new with it, so I'm just trying to learn. I just want to bring something more to the local businesses. I think the art district down there is great with all the shops and maybe if this goes really well, we can grow it and have a bigger event next year. We'd have more time to prepare, possibly have the street closed down right there in between Franklin and, I don't know, is that Washington that runs?
Yes.
Parallel. So obviously that would be something for next year, but we just want to kind of get our feet wet and try something new this year.
Gonna have free beer too?
That's against the law, Ken.
We'll have to ask Burnham and Shoreline. We'll have to ask them.
You would ask that question, Ken.
Well,
Any other questions from the commissioners?
Are there any other events going on, Skylar? Just to make sure. So are we clear on that day? There's nothing else, right?
I don't think Arturo, it doesn't conflict with anything Main Street's put forth yet. Correct, Arturo? Just making sure.
That's correct. We don't have anything on that date.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I move for approval then that we allow usage of that area for Record Store Day by Static Age Records.
I second that.
Got a motion and a second. I'd go to a vote. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. It's a unanimous decision. Dan, congratulations. We look forward to a great event on the 17th of July.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.
Dan, just make sure you please do, and I know Skylar will be on you about making sure we get all the other pieces done. So we look forward to this. This is a great, as I look at it, more events downtown are great. So thank you.
Dan, I'll make sure that Alan gets your information, and he may have, there'll be some documents and things. Obviously, there's some things we need to
right for the insurance and all that stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Our next presentation or next request is for Michigan City Main Street. And Arturo is here to represent them, and I'm going to hand it over to Arturo.
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for hearing us. We are looking to use the lots on 7th Street, north and south of 7th, to the west of Franklin. The first set of dates would be August 6th and 7th for the Taste of Michigan City. The lots we've used in the past, we've actually not used both of them at the same time. The last time we did the Taste, the lot on the south was nothing but dirt because it had been redone and then grass regrown on it. We are looking to use both this year so that we can make more social distancing space available in the beer garden area for health and safety purposes. That entire area will be fenced off. We will be serving alcohol or beer and wine in that area. We will be, of course, getting licenses, temporary permits from the ATC, as well as then getting insurance for that no more than 30 days out for the event. It'll basically be the same thing we've done in the past, just utilizing both lots this year.
Sounds good. I'd ask commissioners for any questions or comments.
Arturo, are you asking for multiple dates outside of this?
Yes, it would actually be For the taste, it would be August 6th and 7th, and then on the 8th until noon, because we have further things to get picked up. There may be some tents on that site that wouldn't probably get picked up until Monday, just because the tent company will be dealing with tents at the lakefront as well.
Archer, in your email, I think where maybe Ms. Deutsch is going is that you also in your email to Skylar, you talked about the February 18th to 20th next year. Do you want to hold off on that?
No, I mean, if you guys are willing to make those approvals, we can do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that's exactly what I was getting at.
I think it's okay to clump them all together, Arturo.
Okay, and I didn't know with your new procedure if you had to do those all separately or what the case was. Fine. Okay, so then the other ones would be, and I don't have a calendar in front of me, would be, let me pull up the email real quick. I apologize.
February 18th to 20th.
Yep, 18th and 20th.
18th through the 20th. That would be for the Shelf Ice Brew Fest. And again, utilizing both sides. We don't know what our layout for sure will be. It'll, some of that will depend upon the COVID numbers and that kind of a thing. But we usually do a warming and music tent on the north side, and some kind of fun, either an art piece, or I think we've done some hatchet throwing in there and all that. And again, we would be fencing off the entire area. We don't have approval from the Board of Works on that yet. They wouldn't approve it, and it's too far out for them. But that would be fenced off, again, serving alcohol like we've done in the past. Again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We're creatures of habit at Main Street. So, and then, so that would be for the Shelf Ice Brew Fest. And then we would be looking to use just the north side of the lot on the first Fridays from May through, I believe, September, to utilize some art displays and that kind of thing, and also sell some beer and wine during the event on the first Fridays of each month. Again, May through September.
Of 2020.
2022. We aren't looking to do any of the big first Friday events in 2021, again, due to COVID.
Archer, you also have March 12th, St. Patrick's Day Parade, and also August 5th and 7th, Taste of Michigan City next year. Would you like to get those approved as well tonight?
Yes. Yeah. The St. Patrick's Day Parade, again, 2 years ago when we did it, just before the shutdowns, we started selling beer, green beer, during the event, and we'd like to do that again. And then, what was the other one? I'm sorry.
The taste next year.
The taste, yeah. Again, utilizing the space like we would be this year.
Yep.
So all pretty simple.
Okay.
Again, all of those events, we would be getting insurance for those events no more than 30 days out. And we still have to present the insurance to the clerk's office once we get those certificates. And of course, the Redevelopment Commission will be named on all of those.
Great. Skylar, you're okay with those being out a year past?
Having worked with Main Street in the past, I just know how tight their operation is. They do an excellent job, and to do this in the future allows them to put a lot more effort into planning rather than doing what they're doing tonight. It allows them to focus on some other things. So I think so.
No, I think it's smart planning. I'd ask if there are any commissioners that have any questions or comments.
I just hope that we accept the dates as presented, and it's stated in the email that we received by Main Street Association for events through August of 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'd like to add a caveat to that. Is if there are any comments from the public. Okay, hearing none, we'll go to a roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch on the motion to approve the 2021 and 2022 events for Main Street.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield. The events were unanimously approved. Arturo, thank you very much for all of the work that you do. Obviously, keeping Michigan City on the map is a great thing, so we appreciate it. So
thank you.
Good luck.
Just a question. Do we need to do a separate approval for the event happening June 4th in the parking lot on the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't cover that one. So Arturo, I'm just going to explain it, and then I'm gonna hand it off to you to explain it.
Okay, great.
So Arturo went to the Board of Works meeting for the parking lot. Colloquially, we call it the goat lot because it has the goat statue on it. You may recall that at the corner of Washington and 8th. It actually is our parking lot. We own it. We built it. And tonight he's requesting use of that parking lot for an event, and I'm going to let him tell you about the event.
Okay. The event is on the back of the Hokkaido building. We have commissioned a mural to be on all 3 levels of that building. And on the first Friday in June 4th, we'd like to have a celebration of that mural in that lot. There would be live music, beer, and wine. And then all of the artists that submitted proposals to us, which we had about, I think, 25 submittals from 10 artists. We're offering them the opportunity to display their work and be part of that celebration. There would be no street closures involved in that, with just the lot. We would obviously need to have the lot cleared of anybody that's parking in there. A lot of it is actually employees of Hokkaido at that hour, and we've already let them know that we'd be doing that, and they're cool with that. Let's see what else. I think that's it. I think that's we went to the Board of Works like Skylar said originally, and then we had to come over here finding out that it was your lot.
Yeah. And June 4th is a first Friday, correct?
It's first Friday, yes.
Yeah, it is the first Friday in June. So it is going to be kind of a big event there. So probably.
So as far as you have a capacity then? I mean, it's outdoors, and so basically the lot is used just for the artists to display their work, and then social distancing, because you said something about drinks and.
Yeah, and I don't know what the city's capacity is per square foot, and what the fire department would regulate, and then we could determine what our capacity is from there.
Okay.
But yeah, we would definitely be social distancing and limiting the number of people coming in, because it would be fenced off at the portions that are accessible. Again, we'll be searching for getting approval from ATC and that kind of thing, and again, insurance very shortly if we get approval.
And free, right?
Absolutely free. The beer and wine would be for sale, but the entrance would be free.
Okay.
And this is just the northeast lot, not the one where the farmer's market is?
Correct. Just the northeast lot. Yeah, the other lot would be a Board of Works thing because they own that lot.
They own that lot, yeah.
Okay.
I would say too that Arturo is correct. This lot's never full, if you will. It doesn't get utilized too much, as well as the lot you just mentioned, John, during the day. I don't think it would be I guess my point is, I don't think it would be a problem to clear the lot. Like you said, most people work there or work in that immediate area, and they'll probably be gone by the time. And there's plenty of on-street parking and other options. So.
Yep.
Yeah, we would actually be looking at closing that at 11, so that we get tents and stuff set up with plenty of time, so that we're not rushing for safety purposes.
Yeah.
So 11 a.m. to.
Correct. Till I believe we were asking for 9:30.
And then arterial, everything would pretty much be cleaned up for the next morning for farmers market.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that it's clear for the market.
I know it gets utilized during farmers market.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we would have that clear, so that would be available.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I move for approval for uses on June 4th of the goat lot at Washington and 8th.
Second.
Go through roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes. Arturo, thanks for all your help. We are going to become the party capital city of the world very soon.
I'm excited to hear that. I have this thing on July 7th. I am super excited to have an event that I don't have to plan. It sounds like a lot of fun, but we're always looking for the public to help us with more events down there, and we're willing to help with any questions and help them get through any paperwork that they need to get those things done.
Yeah.
Thanks, Arthur.
Skylar, I would ask these events that we have on the docket here, Main Street. We put those on the Michigan City website as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They'll get put on there, as well as I will take care of making sure that lot, I'll send it over to Jeff at the police department, Captain Lynette,
Good.
and make sure that everything gets moved out of the lot prior to the event as well.
Great.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you, guys. I appreciate your
Thanks,
time.
Arturo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, Michigan City Area Schools Technology Grant presentation. Mr. McGuire or Skylar. I don't know.
Kevin, I didn't recognize you, man. Wow.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to see some friendly faces again. It's been a while since we've done this presentation. And for those that don't recognize me, it is Kevin McGuire with a prolonged COVID beard now. So thanks, Mr. Chatfield. Quick update, or as quick as I can make it. We haven't been standing still as the COVID pandemic has raged on. It's been quite the busy and challenging year for us, as you can imagine. So just wanted to give you some updates, also some history for those that may not know how this all started and where we're at and how we got here. So again, real quick, my name is Kevin McGuire, the Director of Technology for Michigan City Area Schools. I've been the director now for, I think, 19 years, been with the district for 21. Born and raised in Michigan City and a Michigan City Area Schools graduate. So I have some history with the district. It's fun to think now that I think my entire life of my 45 years of being here, all but 5 years I've spent inside Michigan City Area Schools. So there's quite the history there. So if we go all the way back to 2013, 2014, I think when Mr. Barron and I had some conversations regarding the one-to-one project that we talked about in the kind of the first cycle of the grant funds, that kicked off our one-to-one initiative going back 6-7 years now, and our relationship with the Redevelopment Commission. At that time, we started putting Chromebooks in the hands of students, and that was our goal, was to make sure that every child in Michigan City Area Schools would have a device for, what at the time we thought snow days would be the big issue and what we'd have to cover and how we could get instruction to our students. So, lo and behold, moving forward 6 years in and coming up to the pandemic at the beginning of last year, we were one of few districts. As I should mention, I did lay out, and hopefully everybody got the attachments, a document kind of going through the history that I'm explaining right now. But we were one of the few districts in the nation that were prepared to do 100% of virtual learning with 100% of our students. So many districts, we certainly weren't the only district to have a one-to-one program and a project that had devices in the hands of students, but we were one of the few that had a program that were able to handle virtual instruction for all students K through 12. And had practiced it by that time. We've had a couple of days of snow days and e-learning days prior to that, so we had some practice. That's not to say that we were 100% ready for a almost 9-month pandemic and instruction from our teachers from home and and real-time instruction, which was the big piece for us in the synchronous instruction that happened on a regular basis after that first spring break. But we made through it. And some of the things that I wanted to point out that redevelopment funds had helped us with, obviously one was the devices, but we had to purchase some software such as Zoom, and we're using it now. So that was a big piece of our initial rollout. Things like Screencastify, which allowed our teachers to create videos so they can enhance their instruction. Document cameras for the classrooms, webcams, all the usual stuff that you could imagine that you would need. Redevelopment dollars helped us pick the tab up for those, as well as we were very fortunate to receive grants from United Way, Unity Foundation, Helmet Corporation, just dollars from all over the community to help us pick up the added expense that we had, as well as then, of course, you're all aware with the CARES funding and the URSA dollars now that we're receiving as well, that will continue that push to help pick up that momentum and make sure that we're ready for hopefully not a future pandemic, but certainly the snow days and the virtual learning that's going to happen. So as we move through the pandemic, the biggest challenge that we had was internet access. And I don't think that was one thing that we had lots of conversations with going back 5 years. One of the things that we did to help bridge that gap was we offered, again, using some grant dollars and the redevelopment dollars, we've offered some hotspots for our students across the district. So any student that didn't have internet access or didn't have good connectivity in their household, we went with the T-Mobile MiFi hotspot that offered them some bandwidth within their household. And that was a struggle because of the number of students in a household. We offered one per household. Of course, if you have 3 students, if you've used one of those hotspots, it's very difficult to get that many people on a Zoom meeting. And those are challenges that we kind of push through, but we'll continue to push through that. And I bring that up because another project that we have when we received some dollars from the governor in the way of a gear grant is to move forward with a pilot program to do some Wi-Fi within the community. And I'll talk about that a little bit, but before I go there, I kind of want to touch on what the dollars and where we're at with the dollars that you currently granted us. So the first year, certainly we changed course a little bit, just given the pandemic. And as everybody kind of had to fly by the seat of our pants, we did the best we could with the dollars that were available. And some of those were the redevelopment dollars. So we pushed forward with that. That's not to say that we spent it all. So we're very pleased that we continued to make a push on what this cycle grant was for the innovation centers. And we're still moving on that, and we'll continue. So some things that we purchased last year that before the pandemic hit, and we're getting ready to move forward, were things like Ozobots and Spheros, which are small robotics that kids can program and make do. They're balls, actually. If you Google them, you'll see what they look like. But it's the introduction to programming for our younger kids, and that's kind of where we started with the program. So we're going to continue that push, and we still have that vision in mind to transition all of our media centers to what we're deeming as innovation centers, which 2 years ago, the state of Indiana said that by this fall, we're going to have and instruct on computer science standards that they laid out for us. So that was really what the intent of this grant was for, and that's our intent within innovation centers, is to make sure that we put the tools and the resources in the hands of our teachers, all of our classroom teachers, so they can start integrating that computer science standards in their instruction on a daily basis. So that, again, the centers then would be that holding spot, if you will, of where all the technology will be. Instead of buying a piece of equipment for every classroom, we'll put it in the center and teachers can check it out. As well, our hope is that we'll get some personnel in there, some coaches available to our teachers so they can have some instruction and somebody that can help lead and train them on the standards themselves. So we're still, that's still a big push of ours, and still how we're moving forward with the grant going down the line. That being discussed, as we work through this school year, and we didn't want to buy all sorts of equipment and move forward with things that we knew would have been outdated. As you know how technology progresses, if we bought things last summer, knowing that we wouldn't be able to use them in the fall, they'd been outdated by the time we got back into class here this spring. So we held still. We've kind of put a pause on some of that equipment, But what we did do, instead, kind of change gears and kind of discussed what the end looks like, and keep the end in mind. What do we want students to be able to do in the classroom and in the buildings, and what does that look like at the high school level? And we were lucky enough to receive a HowMet grant that will coincide with our redevelopment grant at the high school level. And some of the great things, and I shared some things in a document that are happening at the high school. If you're familiar with what's happening at high school, if you've read anything here recently in Michigan City, we also were lucky enough to get a Solaire grant here recently, and we started a compressed air academy at the high school. Again, hands-on equipment, real job creation, career intent courses. The goal of that is that when students leave there, they're actually going to be able to go right onto the line of Solaire or any of our compressed air manufacturers in the area, and have hands-on experience with the actual compressors. Expanding that then with the HowMet grant, we're adding things like water jet cutters and CNC machines and the 3D printers, and expanding just that whole group of classes and coursework that we have there. And we're turning that into a computer integrated manufacturing center. So we're really excited about this. We're in the very beginning stages. We're receiving quotes this week. Should have by the end of the week to hopefully sign some paperwork and actually start the plumbing and the electrical needs that are going to be needed in that classroom. But again, with some dollars by the HowMet grants, the actual purchase the equipment, the redevelopment dollars to help reinforce that and get some more equipment for the building so other students have access to that as well. Really very excited about this program moving forward and what that's going to do for our high school as well as the community as a whole. And of course, we're working with our manufacturers in the area and trying to put in equipment that they have in their locations as well to kind of build off what's going on in the community as a whole. So I think it's a huge win for all of us moving forward with that project. And I can't wait to do the ribbon cutting there and unveil what happens there. Just a really exciting time moving forward with that project. So again, back to the wireless program and project and the grant that we received. We put antennas on Marsh and Elston School here recently. Our first one, we actually got lit up just before Thanksgiving was the goal. We now have about 50 or 60 households that are connected, which represent about 100 of our students that are getting internet access from those antennas. And it's managed and maintained by the school district right now, our partner Neo Networks. Actually, I met them on a LaPorte broadband meeting that we had. So I sit on the LaPorte broadband task force as well. So I'm very involved with what is going on in the community. So this is part of what their initiative throughout the community and throughout the county. But really our passion and my goal is to make sure that just like Ken had internet issues earlier, can you imagine if you're sitting in a classroom trying to have that conversation and that discussion with the teacher, you're trying to respond back and what that does for the entire classroom. My goal, my passion is to make sure that every K-12 student, parochial or public, has access to internet anywhere at any time, so they can sit down and have their instruction. And one thing that the pandemic kind of was glaring is the big difference between those that have quality internet access and those that do not. And before we talked about just a device and what that can do for a student, just being able to take home the data, the assignments, whatever it may be, and have access to be able to complete those at home. Now, as we all know and where, it's very important for our students to have that internet access as well. So we'll continue to work with our vendors as well as do what we can with the fiber network that we have, and hopefully some grant dollars moving forward. I believe that given where the state is going, and hopefully you've read the $50 initiative for homes that can be offered for internet access, as well as what's coming down with URSA and some of the other federal dollars moving through. We want to be in a position in Michigan City that when dollars are available, Michigan City schools and the community is ready to move forward to take advantage of those dollars to make sure that every one of our students has access to quality and high-speed internet access from home for educational purposes. So that's my passion. That's where I hope to go. And hopefully we can have some further conversations around that and how we can partner moving forward in the future. So with that, any questions?
Kevin, this is, I just want to say I always look forward to this presentation every year. every time we do this. So I'm always just so intrigued by what you've accomplished. You should be extremely proud of what you've done, and your other teachers that come in and talk about this. It's great that we have such a advantage, I guess, over other communities with this project. So thank you.
Thank you, and I certainly hope to leverage that and pull the rest of the county along if I if I can.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Hey, Kevin, I want to thank you again. I agree. I will echo what Skylar says. What I would ask is that we collectively with you or with the school and redevelopment, we would kind of try to get this story, this discussion into the paper. I think too often there are great things that go on in the community or in communities that never hit the airwaves. It's here, but I think it's one of those things I say loud and proud. We should be proud of this. We should speak it out loud. We should let people know in the community that this is not a one-time event. This is something that has been your passion, but more importantly, it's something that the community has come together and we've provided this. And there may have been some things in the past in the paper, but I think we need to continue to speak it out loud. And so anything you can do, I already texted Skylar. I said, we need to get to the paper and see if, we can get some press on this, because I think it's really important that we talk about this, not just in this group of 20 people that are on this call, but in the community, not just Michigan City, but LaPorte County. So it's very important. So thank you for all you do.
Absolutely appreciate that. Yeah. I would say that with the gear grant, I hope that we get some notice from the governor's office moving forward, because I think we're doing some pretty amazing things right now connecting students. We're in a position because of our fiber network to take advantage of that and do some things that not many communities across the nation can do. So if we can leverage that and help us get some more funding and get more access for our students, then the better for us, for sure.
Well, and I think that's maybe where we can take this for you and help you do that. If we communicate it, we can certainly get there for you. So anything we can do to help. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'd ask if there are any other questions or comments from the commission, and then I'll go to the public for any questions or comments.
I'll just say thank you, and I appreciate that passion that you have for education and equity across students, availability to get education. If we can get that passion out to our community on educating students all through the next upcoming years, money that's coming, it's a great thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners? I'd ask if there are any questions or comments from the public. All right, hearing none, I would ask for
I just want to say, I'm sorry. Thanks, Kevin, for the presentation, and I agree with Mr. Mack as well. I appreciate the update, and we are proud of the things that we're doing here at Michigan City Area Schools, so we appreciate that.
Thank you. Before we switch over, just hopefully everybody got the documents. If you have any questions on the documents, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. I'll be happy to have a conversation with any one of them. I think there was 4 or 5. One was the budget as presented. One was the presentation that was given back in 2019 for the grant and where we're at right now. And then one was the actual document with the update that has been part of the documentation we've been doing for the last 6-7 years as we've dealt with these grants. So again, I appreciate everybody's time and the opportunity.
And then maybe next time it'll be in person. So thank you.
Hopefully.
I am a proud parent that has a son at Lake Hills and has a Chromebook. So thank you.
Absolutely.
I don't, Alan, do we need to make a motion for this?
There's no request for us right now.
Yeah, there's no request.
It's
Okay.
just as part of our agreement with
Okay.
Michigan
Part of our
City
agreement.
Schools was that they would make I think semi-annual presentations as to update us, and I think that's what Kevin was doing here tonight.
Yeah, we do this in conjunction. We typically pay the grant out at this time of year and provide the funding, so it just kind of works out. We have him come in.
Yep.
Just tell us all the good things he's doing. So.
Perfect. Hey, Kevin, thanks for dedicating your time tonight and what you've done in the past, but tonight to hang on to this call for as long as you have. So thank you.
No issues. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I go to item number 8, the transit block update. Attorney Cernak.
Well, yeah, it's going to be both of us.
Okay.
You want to go first, Skylar, in terms of the part where we are with the
Yes, if I might. This might be a little lengthy. So I actually have Clarence on the call tonight as well, and I've told him to jump in as he sees fit. But he's been working with me very closely on this. As you guys are aware, we are purchasing land for the transit block. It's the whole block of land at 11th that's bounded by 10th, 11th, and Pine and Franklin. Originally, prior to the full receiving the full grant amount to the NICD, to the South Shore line, we approved, well, we didn't approve, the city's Historic Review Board and many other departments, they went through approval processes outside of the realm of this board to secure the approval of a design of a building, which is a parking lot of which the FTA has funded. It's a fully funded parking garage. You might recall, we put in some betterments for upgrades of aesthetic betterments. Let's just say that they aren't related to the building. They're related to more things in the right of way, such as decorative fencing, stamped pavement, etc. In the past few months, well, let me further that discussion or add some things to it. Along with this parking garage, it would be owned partially by NICD and partially by the city. We would be in charge of the operating of that parking garage through a maintenance agreement that we signed with the Board of Works for future maintenance, care of that building. NICD would be in charge of the actual station, the small piece of the station as well. So they would care for that. In the past few months, we have approached a conversation with NICD and FTA and the RDA, who's involved in this, of creating our TDD districts, transit development districts. And originally, when this project started out, it was thought that this should be a true transit-oriented development. A TOD is the acronym we use in planning world. So if you hear that, transit-oriented development. We kind of got away from that idea and just went for a straight parking garage with a little bit of mixed use. We saved a spot on Franklin that's approximately 7,000 square feet. It's not very conducive to transit-oriented development or mixed use in that it's such a small space. It's really gonna lend itself to something very special or something very unique to be there. So we went back to NICD, the FTA, and the RDA, and basically started a conversation about, can we do something different at this location and explore the option of a full transit-oriented development. And we have put together numerous presentations in conjunction with NICD and the RDA. We made that presentation once to the regional office in Chicago, and then finally we made it to I'd say at the national level, the higher level of that. We have the okay right now to move forward with a alternative plan. We have a very tight time frame to execute that plan. The benefits of this plan or of this idea of this new development would be that it would be a privately owned building. We would not be maintaining it in the future. It would be a privately owned with respect to a tax producing base in this area. I mean, it would be mixed use. It might be wrapped in a garage that's wrapped rather than seeing a garage. You would see, I'm just throwing things out there, apartments or commercial space on the bottom. It would fit. It would be more robust development than just a simple parking garage. To do this, we have to go down this alternative path. We, as the Redevelopment Commission, need to, because this is above and beyond what's covered by the scope of the work that's included in the grant, we would need to reopen some environmental documents that we would be responsible for. We would also need to break apart the bidding document that's already been bid out for this project in order to break some pieces apart that are related more to the actual station block and bid those out separately. So we'd have to redo those documents. So there would be some betterment cost, if you will, associated with going down this alternative path. I do think it is the right thing to go down. The time frame that we have is about, we have 11 months to issue an RFP, to go to proposal, and then to execute upon choosing a developer, and then to get a redevelopment agreement, and to get all the funding necessary involved for this development to happen. There's numerous avenues for the funding. I won't get into those tonight. We'd have to talk about that with a developer at the time after we get the requests back, the proposals back. I do think it is the right thing to do at this location. I think it could really start to become more of a center of downtown. When I think about downtown, I think about the Cool Springs or the CSX tracks north rather than 11th Street North. I think this could be a brand new center of downtown, provide a very vibrant area where people live, where people go to not just get on the train, but maybe there's new restaurants and new things to do at this location. I think Midtown, it offers itself to help out the Midtown area as well. So 11th Street South, I think it could drive some new development into that area, and we could see some movement in some of those properties down there. Right now, I have a scope of work from the environmental firm right now. I'm reviewing it to see what all is involved. I will be receiving another scope of work for the previously mentioned adjustments to the engineering documents from AECom. I guess me telling you this is that I think we may have to have some special meetings in the near future. So we should be prepared for that, because this is a very tight time frame to put out an RFP and get to a development. It's a very tight time frame for that. Ruth Warama, who is our consultant, will be helping us draft the RFP, as well as the RDA and Regional Development Authority and their consultant, KPMG. And we will do this in conjunction with the Historic Preservation Commission, Indiana Landmarks, and the NICD. Therefore, hopefully we will, hopefully we can accomplish an RFP that is all encompassing, and we can get some things in there ahead of time that are, and get rid of maybe some of the contentious issues that they had to deal with last time through the Historic Preservation review. So, that's all I have on it right now. I know that was a lot, but feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll share with you what I have. We just got kind of the formal nod from FTA about a week and a half ago. So we've been working through numerous presentations, trying to make sure we covered all our bases before we went to them and made this ask, because it is a big, I won't say deviation, but an alternate path, if you will. So. Any questions? Someone's got to have a question.
Hey, Skylar, it's Nick. I'm not sure if it's, I think I'm part of the public on this meeting, but so it's an 11-month, is that, how much longer is it going to be extended with this new RFP process versus the current timeline?
Good question. Great question. Actually, so what we have, the NICD's timeframe, we're not we will be affecting day of service by possibly a couple of months, but not like a year. We had to be within a certain time frame for the FTA to even, I think, fathom letting us go down an ulterior path. So our goal is to not affect it doesn't affect the double track project. It only affects the station block. Does that make sense? So there'll be running trains probably before that, but that was the plan anyways, is that the tracks are going to get laid and the station gets built. So that's been the plan all along. There were two separate bid documents actually. So they're not bidded, they weren't bid all as one. The station block was bid separately. So they're gonna proceed with the double tracking, and we'll have some time to go out to RFP. But as far as pushing out the time frame of the parking garage, it affects it very minimally. But I do believe the benefit outweighs the risk at this point in time. I hope did I answer your question, Nick, to some extent?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Actually, one final question. If you had your dream, what do you think would be the most ideal use of that commercial space? Let's just say anything's on the table. What do you think would be most beneficial to create more of a buzz for downtown?
Oh man, Nick,
putting you on a spot.
Oh yeah, that's a big question. I think a mixture of there might be some institutional usage you see there. I think you might get some flex space. Maybe there's an institution. When I say institution, maybe it's a community college or a college extension that moves there, or maybe there's I think residential definitely could play a component there. I don't know the extent of how much or how dense it is, but definitely commercial. Commercial definitely plays a role there because you have the Franklin Street, kind of beginning of Franklin Street, down, the Uptown Arts District. I think we need to make that whole with respect to not leaving it just a blank facade, that it needs to be worked into something that fits with the character of that area. That's kind of what I see there. I don't know. Residential, is it apartments, condos? What are those uses? It could be mixtures. I'm not sure exactly what the developer will bring us. They're going to bring us something that obviously will pencil out in the end. But I do think that I could see some institutional uses there as a hub. Being like, you go there, do your thing, get back on the train, either go east or west to some extent. So I think it could be not just from Chicago into our downtown, but I think it could be South Bend into our downtown as well.
So let me add a little bit to that. Scala did a great job, and even though there's a little bit of time that we ate up there, it's important to understand that the transition of this becoming a city project where we're going to own the building and we're responsible.
Correct.
And putting out to RFP, it's really important to understand that we want to go out to RFP and put this out into the public, and we're looking for ideas. We're looking for input. And we're looking for developers to bring their ideas to what we're doing. And so, Nick, great question. But I think it also is, what does somebody else have? I mean, there are a myriad of ideas that are out there. And I think it's, how do we get there at the end? What does it look like? There's a lot of property there. There's a lot of opportunity. Retail, commercial, restaurants, coffee shops, you know, breakfast places. I mean, think about when you walk into, you get off the South Shore in Chicago at Randolph, you walk out, as you walk through the tunnel, you have all these, you know, great, you know, popcorn or whatever it is. So I think we're looking for somebody to bring their ideas to us as well, and invest their money and be partners with Michigan City. So I think very exciting time for what we're doing. So
Chris, if I might add one more thing.
Yeah.
So to think about this project, there's two paths. Project A, we already have approval for a train station with a parking garage.
Yep.
Project Path B is this alternative that I just mentioned. So if this is, say, a year from now, we can't ink a deal. We go with Plan A. We already have it approved. We build a single parking garage, and so I don't think that will be the case. I do believe we will find a developer and someone to take this and to take on this project. It's a robust and complicated project, but I don't think it's something we can't accomplish.
And Skylar, the other part of this, although it's a little bit in the weeds, is talking a little bit about the fact that with respect to the parking garage, if we do go privately, the developer has to follow the same fee structures as what the RDA and what the FTA requires, correct?
Correct. They would have to meet the requirement. So there's there's also an incentive from the FTA that they're providing for this garage, which would be available, but they have to be assured that they have a specific number of parking spaces, which I can't remember the exact number. It's like 428 spaces or something like that. It's 400 something. I can't recall the exact number. They have to be assured that they have A, B, C, and D before we could use that money. And that includes that actually FTA, I don't think sets the price. It's actually set by NICD. So parking, the price for parking, it would go NICD wide. So it would be used at every station. So right now they don't want to just do it in our downtown. It would need to go across, so it's equitable across all their stations, which in the future, I think they plan on doing that, but it just may be a while before they set that fee structure up.
Yep.
But yes, there would be requirements from the FTA and NICD that have to be met, and assurances by the developer to these organizations.
Very good. Might add something, or make a couple comments too, because I know I said on one of the presentations, but I will say that this alternative will be positive for us, because I know that we've had several conversations as a council talking about the maintenance cost and things over time, and this will put some additional taxes back on the roll for us. And, so it's a win-win in that regard if we can make this happen. But it being a hub or having, an institution or commercial, whatever it is, I think that will, just be an added benefit for that transportation district, and also kind of, really jump-starting Midtown, not just north of Franklin, but south of Franklin. So I think we'll have a lot of takers knocking at our door. So I think this is a good alternative to meet the needs of some of the issues that some of our council members have about the parking garage and the long-term use and maintenance and cost and all of those things. One thing though, I don't know if you mentioned it, but we still are on the hook for some parking that we have to have, regardless of which route we go, right?
Correct. And we've identified, we actually do, it had to be within a certain walking distance. We've identified over 800 spaces to offset that day one requirement for ridership. Even there's just a lot of parking. I didn't even include on-street parking when I did that analysis. I did about a quarter mile outside of around the station, and there's just a lot of parking down there with respect to what we would be needing. Yep. Any other questions? I would just say to the commissioners, just please be ready that we may have to call some special meetings and really kind of push some things along, get some approvals. The terms and the time frame that I think were very generous, because it was a tighter time frame, and I think they were very generous with the time frame that they did give us, be it a short time frame. So
yeah, we'll get through this very quickly. So any other questions or comments from either the public or the commission? All right, I'd like to move forward. Skylar, so next item is the liquor license request. Just to be clear, what we have the ability to grant special liquor licenses to properties that are within the guidelines of the with respect to the Trail Creek, and so there's a special group, special subcommittee, which is made up of Angie Deutsch and also Ken Barrett, and I think Skylar. And so their charge is to review potential applications. And so this next one on item number 9 is liquor license request, Agave Mansion. So I'll turn it over to, I think, Skylar, and then maybe Angie and Ken Barrett, please.
Yeah, so this is a request for our municipal riverfront liquor license, and they will be represented tonight by Attorney Anthony Novak. I'll just say, is Angie and Ken, do you want me just to kind of let them do the presentation? Is that kind of go through it, or?
I would say just brief. I mean, we've reviewed it, but if they could do a brief presentation and just talk about what the restaurant is going, what their, the vision is for the restaurant, for the short term, like the timeline, and go from there.
Does that sound okay, Anthony?
Yeah,
And
I can definitely, I can strip down everything for the interest of time. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
So my name is Anthony Novak. I'm an attorney with Newby, Lewis, Kaminsky, and Jones in LaPorte here on behalf of Bocce Brothers, LLC, doing business as Agave Mansion. We're trying to get a, as Skylar said and Chris said, a 3-way riverfront liquor license, ultimately seeking your approval from the commission, and then ultimately going in front of the ATC to file the application to get that. I will strip down everything that I was going to say just to kind of keep it a lot brief. But before I turn it over to AJ Castillo, who is the going to be the head guy here for Agave, I do just want to introduce Tim Enright and Nick Lamaglio. They're kind of the brains and the money behind all of this. They've made a huge investment in Michigan City in the last year. Purchased Uptown Center, 907 Franklin Street, and invested $1.4 million into that space, buying it and renovating it. Then they bought this property here, which is, they bought it for about $500,000 and will be doing a big investment with this restaurant. And then finally, Nick, through a related entity, bought the old Michigan City Library to convert to high-end residential apartments, investing about $1.2 million there. So guys that are super excited about Michigan City. So Nick and Tim, if you could just say hi, and then I'm going to turn it over to AJ. And Tim, you're on mute.
Yeah, Tim, I think you're on mute. Tim, you can go ahead.
Better. I'm good.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I want to say hi and thanks everybody for their time tonight. We're really excited about Michigan City. We're excited about the Uptown Center, and we think Agave is going to be a great hit with the community also.
Yeah, I'll echo that. We're very excited. My name's Nick Lamaglio. I think I've been on a call with a few of you for prior things. I represent the interests of the entity that helps, that's representing some of these investments. And we're very excited in Michigan City. It's something you have all already known for a long time. We're just playing catch up to you. So we appreciate, the partnership that Michigan City offers, and we're excited to see what we can do in the future together.
So before I turn it over to AJ, I just want to explain something real brief. Angie brought it up in our meeting just about kind of how the ownership structure works here, because you see the name Bocce Brothers LLC doing business as Agave Mansion LLC. So these are two separate entities. AJ runs his business and operates his business. Like most businesses, you'll sometimes have one entity that owns the real estate, and then you'll have another entity that will operate the restaurant. That's exactly what's happening here. Bocce Brothers owns the business, and they're doing a long-term lease with Agave Mansion, 5 years with an option to renew. Bocce Brothers would technically own the permit, and then Agave Mansion would operate that permit. In the ATC world, that's known as managing the permit. I did it most recently 2 weeks ago with the new owners of Duneland Beach Inn. There's an owner that owns the actual inn, and then there's a separate entity that runs Farina's Supper Club. So on the ATC forms, it says DBA, although we're not technically, Agave is not a DBA of Bocce Brothers, but that's just the lingo for the ATC forms. But separate entities. One other point, Alan brought up was just he doesn't want to think that this is going to be a revolving door of tenants, and that certainly wouldn't be in our best interest. So we plan on having Agave for a long time, and if anything changes, we'd be back in front of you. So without further ado, I just want to turn it over to AJ to talk about his experience and what he sees for this restaurant.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. AJ Castillo. I'm a young entrepreneur. Started off as a cook. I graduated from the University of Illinois. And after about a year of working my 9 to 5, I kind of wanted to do my own thing and really, follow my dreams. And I became a line cook. And I wanted to learn the restaurant game from the ground up, with a little bit of prior bartender experience in college too. So just very excited. There's a lot of things going on in Michigan City, and I can sense it. Nick and Tim brought me out. Nick lives in the neighborhood of Americanos, which is a restaurant I currently own and operate. We've been doing really well. We made it out of the pandemic and full steam ahead. We're doing great. So we're very excited about that, and just very excited to kind of keep creating. I'm a big fan of coming up with new recipes, new concepts, new ideas. And when Nick and Tim brought me out there, I just saw their vision right away and kind of fell in love with Michigan City without ever really being out there. So, we're family owned. I'm a minority owner, and just very excited. We're gonna do the concept. Agave Mansion is really gonna focus on the southern part of Mexico. Oaxaca specifically, and we want to do Oaxacan street food. So while I want to stay true to the street food concept of everything, it is a little bit higher end, but also very affordable. We will be doing a bunch of different tacos, about 7 or 8 to be exact. We'll have your classics, your burritos, your enchiladas, stuff like that. And about 8 to 9 craft cocktails, margaritas, things of that sort. So just very excited, and can't wait to, get out there and hopefully, hit the ground running and really educate the neighborhood on, the important cultural aspects from the southern tip of Mexico, from Oaxaca. So with that, if anyone has any questions for me or anything regarding the restaurant, I'd love to answer them.
Can you talk about the number of employees? Just talk about just a little bit of that so that the public can know what you're looking at as far as employees. And because I know that you're putting in great deal of money into this outside of the real estate piece too. So I just want to make sure that the public knows that as well.
So yeah, so we will be, the restaurant will be roughly around the same size as Americano's. So I kind of already have the blueprint there, which is great. Makes things a little easier, but we are looking at potentially 20 to 40 employees. As we start off, I would assume we wouldn't have as many, but kind of as we grow and as we get more popular with the community, I could see us being anywhere upward of 35 to 50, honestly.
And AJ, if you could touch a little bit, not only on, you know, the restaurant and potentially some outdoor patio space, but then some potential events as well.
Yes, we're planning on hosting some live music events upstairs as well. I do have some experience with that with one of my bartenders currently, who will be a manager out there or at Agave Mansion. He is the drummer in a band, and he knows a lot of local talent in Chicago. We actually we're throwing an event called Up in Smoke on the south side of Chicago with Charlie Crockett coming out. He's a pretty big artist at this point. We signed him pre-COVID, and because of COVID, we couldn't have the event, but he's coming back out this August. And so we do have experience with live music events, and we want to bring kind of that same flair to the upstairs of Agave Mansion as well for post-dinner and drinks, live music shows.
Thank you.
I think someone mentioned a timeline, and I think that's pretty much predicated on, you know, if we were awarded the liquor license. I think AJ's prepared to begin work, and it's, you know, open as soon as we get a license.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think with the timeline probably as early as August. That's what I'm kind of shooting for.
So Anthony, kind of leading into that question, if awarded tonight, what do you believe the timeline is with you know, ATC or in the state to get a license awarded?
Sure. I got a lot of experience. I've done the last 3 in front of the commission, but my experience has been with the last few that at the end of next week, I would hopefully get a letter from the mayor's office, and that's really the trigger for the ATC. Okay. The letter would state that we made a presentation, the commission approved it, and we can move forward. We would then file an application right away with the ATC. I would assume that we would be put on the June agenda for the local board meeting in front of the ATC. Okay. And then once approved at the local level, about 2 weeks thereafter, there's a state commission ATC hearing, which for the most part, is not, as long as nothing goes off the rails, it's a rubber stamp. And then about a couple weeks thereafter, excise will come in and review the floor plan that AJ submitted to confirm that it in fact is the floor plan in existence. Mm-hmm. So I would guess that that's going to be early July, meaning that if everything hit and AJ was ready to go, we're talking mid-July, but I think the conservative would be, as long as we hit all those dates, early August.
Okay. Is the intent to open the restaurant prior to a liquor license or no? Or is that the linchpin?
I thought about it. I actually did that with Americanos, and it ended up working out. My concern is we are, you know, the agave plant is, you know, what makes tequila and mezcal. So it definitely has its kind of, you know, it's centered around the agave plant. So it kind of, if you come in to Agave Mansion, you're kind of expecting to have like a very good margarita, sure, or some tequila on the rocks. So I would prefer doing it all at once. So when people do come and experience Agave Mansion, they get the whole thing.
Coming from the restaurant world, I totally get that. And I guess I'm a little jealous because I looked at the menu, and my only request and question is, are you making traditional El Pastor?
Yes, I do need to buy a spit, but yes, that is the plan.
All right. Sold. So, all right. I would ask if there, thanks guys for that, those details.
Certainly.
I'd ask if there are any other commissioners have any questions, and then I'll go to the public.
I will say though that the committee, myself and Ken Barrett, we did make a recommendation to bring it to the board, and we recommended approval. I just want to state that for the record.
Thank you, Angie. I appreciate that. That's just to be clear and transparent. Part of the reason for the subcommittee is really to vet these applications out, so that when they come to the board, they are it's a clear, not an approval, but certainly one that the subcommittee has vetted and made sure that it's something viable for the commission. So thank you for that clarity. Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, I would ask.
Oh, wait. We have Dahlia.
Oh, Dahlia. I'm sorry.
Hi. Yes, Dahlia Gigas from the Michigan City Common Council. I'm very excited to hear about this restaurant, and I think the more restaurants we have of this kind of quality, the more it's going to become a destination for people to come eat and drink. So I'm very much in favor.
Thank you.
Dahlia, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, hearing none, I would ask for a motion for the approval of the liquor license for Agave Mansion.
So moved.
A second.
Hearing a motion and a second, I would go to a vote based on the new rules from the state. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. The motion passes. So gentlemen, congratulations. We look forward to moving forward. Anthony, if there's anything we need to get to you, we can get that to you as quickly as possible so you can move forward. And I will look for El Pastor tacos very quickly.
I'll let you down.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Yep, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Yep. Have a great night.
Yep, take care.
Too.
Thank you, Anthony. Next on the agenda, actually, I'm gonna deviate a little bit. I go to Attorney Cernick, the station block acquisition. We deviated from that earlier from one of our items, so I'd like to go to that right now, if we could, please.
Just kind of piggyback on what Skylar said earlier. We do, or part of our agreement with Nick D way back when was that we would acquire the parcels that are on within what has been referred to as a station block, which is bordered by 10th and 11th Street and Franklin and Pine. During the past several months, we started with BLN, our subcontractor, doing appraisals on those parcels. They made tentative offers, or they made offers subject to our approval in the late fall, early winter, all of which were rejected by the property owners. That then led to our moving for eminent domain action, which I believe was granted at least of the first part by agreement with all the property owners. That remember, the eminent domain action has two different requirements. One is a public good, and the second is just compensation. All by stipulation agreed to the public good aspect, and then we moved into just compensation. Appraisals were ordered and are some are ongoing, some are not. But meanwhile, I have continued negotiations with representatives of the remaining property owners. And I guess the other factor to throw in there, the other variable to throw in there, is that we first talked about this several years ago, but it was with the idea that we were shooting for the goal of acquiring these properties and conveying them to NICD sometime during the month of June of 2021. Because of progress, and I guess because of NICD being able to move forward and getting the support that they have, it's not sometime in June of 2021, it's June 1st of 2021. So we have talked in executive session, as we're permitted to do, with various negotiations on acquisitions, and you have given me authorizations, which I have then taken back and continue to negotiate to the point of where we are right now, starting first with the 1002 Franklin Street property. This property was originally appraised by BLM. This is probably the most problematic property just because of the fact that it is, we know it's an IDEM site, it's a contaminated site, and there clearly is environmental cleanup. And I would note that by our acquiring this property and conveying it to NICD as a governmental agency as part of an eminent domain action, we will continue to bear no responsibilities for that environmental cleanup. And in fact, you may recall we have employed Clue Shadley, Rachel, and Braun to pursue that for economic environmental cleanup costs and reimbursement for the two principal polluters, which would be the property owner and Begley Cleaners, as in accordance with definition. And that's a rather broad definition from the Clean Water Act, because even though the current owners had absolutely nothing to do with the pollution of the ground falling within title, they become a principal polluter according to the Clean Water Act. And again, one of the exceptions to that is a municipality that's acquiring property through an eminent domain action, as well as other exceptions. So that's how we get off the hook. When this commission first started talking about this property and acquisition or acquiring this property, after several conversations, your final authorization to me was to acquire the property or offer our acquisition for $270. That has been tendered to them. They have come down repeatedly from, I think their original request was somewhere in the 350 area. They are not budging at 285. The two options that we have available is that we can either agree with that 285 and acquire the property and have possession of it by tomorrow, or and I do have this with their attorney, they would enter into a stipulation. We would enter a stipulation with the property owner for immediate acquisition and we would just put the $285,000 into escrow as part of the eminent domain action, and then continue to have the process of continued appraisals, continued negotiations, and ultimately resulting in litigation if we were not able to reach or bridge that $15,000 gap. So what I'm asking for tonight is either one of two things: approval of acquisition for $285,000, or authorization to enter into a stipulation with them to put the $285,000 in a clerk's escrow account pursuant to the condemnation action.
Comments from the commission on this?
So, what was Clue Shadley's? What was the appraisal again?
Well, with the BLN appraisal, I think originally came in at like 155, but it was knocked down. It was either 155 or 165, but it was knocked down to 95,000 because of the environmental issues.
Right.
And when we talked about that during at some point last year. And again, that whole issue was discussed with regards to the fact that even though by law they are a principal polluter, they obviously did not run a convenience store. They did not contribute to the pollution or the environmental hazards that have been discovered there, both the underground storage tanks as well as the contaminations that have been leached from the former dry cleaning store that was on that property.
Right.
So that's where the authorization came to go to 270, not originally, but I mean, ultimately 270, and that has been offered.
Ken, you have a thought?
I'm sorry?
Ken,
Well, they paid 85,000 for it back in 2017, so they're getting a 4-year premium after 4 years of a couple $100,000, and I've got a bit of a problem with that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Any other questions or comments? Comments from the commission?
Just the effectiveness of actually putting the amount that they're asking for in an escrow account and then paying people to continue this argument over this extra course of time when we could wrap this up tomorrow. It's starting to be, the whole argument is just that $15,000, are we going to eat it up or are we going to give it to them? Or eat it up and more by putting what they're asking for in an account anyway. It just seems like the quicker we can, I don't know if you want to call it lick our wounds or whatever the term you may use, the end is in sight, and dragging this out on our own desire to drag it out, I just don't see it. So I don't necessarily like the manner in which it was done, but if this is the end game tomorrow,
I know. And I guess to respond to that, and if I guess my advice would be exactly on that issue, is the fact, if we were $50,000 apart, I would say, well, yeah, it's probably worth it then to continue to have negotiations and so see if we can get a little bit closer. But you're absolutely right, Mr. Mack. We will spend $15,000 in continued appraisals and attorney fees. And we have tried very hard. I have tried very hard to make sure one of the ways that we get in trouble is if we do not negotiate in good faith, we could end up paying their attorney fees. Now, I've taken great pause to make sure that has not happened. But I think if a jury were to look at the fact, geez, you're only $15,000 apart and you didn't go ahead and go with that, and they could say the same thing on them as well. I kept hoping that in the last week that we were 285, 270, let's just cut it in the middle. And he just was not refusing to do so. And you're absolutely right, Mr. Barron, is that I have brought that up on several occasions of his windfall from 70,000 to 270 or 285,000. I've also made very clear to him too that based on the environmental concerns, that if there were no double track project, he would have worthless property until that cleanup was concluded. This property is not worth 95,000. This property is not worth. This property is underwater because of the environmental cleanup. Yeah. And if we didn't have the double track project going on, this property would be worthless. There's no question about it.
And that's probably. Sorry to interrupt, Al. I mean, the reality is that the reason why it was so cheap is because there was environmental problems on it, and the seller was walking away and happy to take $80,000, $75,000 away. And so I'm torn between, we sometimes need to cut bait, and this is one of those times. I do have a philosophical problem to give somebody 285 for a project that, when they bought it, 4 years ago at $75,000. But the reality is they bought it at $75,000 with $400,000 worth of environmental contamination. So yes, they may be the winner at the end, but so.
No, if our last offer is 285, we're stuck at that anyway, right?
Yep. Well, we're stuck at the 270.
270, right?
Yeah,
right.
270.
No, I like I said, I don't have to like it, and I don't.
And again, the other thing, understand those too, is that we, because of the Federal Relocation Act, I am not allowed to do this like any other normal arm's length negotiation, where I could say take it or leave it. The Federal Relocation Act doesn't allow us to do that as a government agency, as a government entity.
Right.
So you need a motion to move forward. I know I kind of agree with I do agree with Councilman Mack that you presented two options. Tell me the two again. I want the one that gets this done with tomorrow.
That you would be making a motion. That you would be making a motion to approve acquisition of the 1002 Franklin Street property for the sum of $285,000.
I move that we move forward with the acquisition of 1002 Franklin at the sum of $285,000.
Second.
Go to a roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. The motion passes at $285,000 for the Begley property.
The next property on the list was the Lakeside Cottages, which is the property at 117 East 10th Street. This one really should be pretty easy. In fact, we never really even contested this one. The BLN appraisal came back at $23,500. The owner originally counted at $30,000, pretty much like we just talked about. The $6,500 difference didn't seem to justify actually getting appraisals on this, and we just kind of negotiated back and forth. And where we ended up and what they have accepted from my counteroffer of $23,000, actually coming down $500, but it was contingent on resolution of the 106 East 11th Street parcel, which is coming up next. But even that is I think come back more favorably towards our liking, which we can get to in a minute. But the recommendation or the motion that I'm looking for on this one is to approve acquisition of Lakeside Cottages in the amount of $23,000.
Comments from the commission?
I move that we accept, that we move forward with the acquisition of 117 East. This is 117 East
10th Street.
10th Street for $23,000.
Second.
Go to a roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes for 117 East 10th Street for $23,000.
Next one is 106 East 11th Street. This property and why it's in conjunction with Lakeside Cottages is because the sole owner of Lakeside Cottages is a minority owner of 106 East 11th Street. This was a property that BLN originally appraised at $235,000 and offered that in their original offer. The LLC came back with a counteroffer of $363,777. Later reduced it by the time I got involved with it as $337,867.68. The significance of this one, though, in terms of where I've kind of changed my attitude at least a little bit, was that valuations, they commissioned an appraisal done by Valuation Services, who we have used repeatedly over the years for 4 various kind of properties that we've had appraised and then we subsequently acquire. We know their work, we're familiar with their work. We could have guessed where they would have come in on this property, appraising this property. And they came in with an offer of 350, or with an appraisal of 315,000. You had prior authorization, or allowed me to have prior authorization of 280,000. They are now saying that they will accept, even still, $8,000 below their own appraiser's value of 307,000. My own sense of this, based on the experience that I've had, not only on this particular property, but also in dealing with the various kinds of acquisitions we've made over the years, that if valuation services is saying 315,000 and a seller is counting with 307,000, that would strike me as being a very fair offer. My advice would be, and would hope that we could do a motion for approval of acquisition of 106 East 11th Street in the amount of $307,000.
So moved.
Second.
Go to roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barrett.
Aye.
Michael Back.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes for 106 East 11th Street for $307,000.
Next one is the tattoo parlor at 1010 Franklin Street, owned by Mr. Tunstall. I don't know that I got a whole lot to say on this. This is, we've kind of negotiated back and forth. We originally approved a $175,000 right of entry, I think a couple of months ago. So basically we ended up negotiating back for the remaining value of the property. He needed the $175,000 because he was relocating to another place in Michigan City in close proximity so that he could continue to have his business, which I know we appreciate. This property was BLN originally appraised at 235. He never came back down from, we had previously offered him 285,000. And he never came down from $300,000, which was what his final offer was, until it was probably like a week and a half ago, and where he came down to 292,000. And where we came to that was because he not only owns the business that's there, he owns the building that's there, and he also had an apartment that was there. And he was able to parlay that into roughly $8,100 for relocation costs, both for the personal business and for the business, and moving that. So he still ended up with this $300,000. But the request before you tonight is to acquire the property for $292,000, which, as I know, there's only $7,000 difference from what we had previously offered him. And as much as I can sense from the commission that I would be, again, the same kind of thing of where we did before, we're $7,000 apart. We will more than pay $7,000 in continuing appraisal fees. And I can tell you a story about that one at some point off the record. But that's kind of where we are at this point. I'd be looking for approval of the acquisition of that property for the remaining balance of $117,000, again, that we would offer to him.
I'm sorry, Alan, go back. What's the total amount we would offer?
We have already paid him $175. The total sales price of the property is $292. That leaves a balance of $117,000.
Okay. Any comments from the commission?
I move that we approve the remaining $117,000 for, what's the actual address?
It is 1010 Franklin Street.
For 1010 Franklin Street.
Second.
With a roll call, Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barrett.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes for the purchase of the balance due of $117,000 for 1010 Franklin Street.
And the final property down the station block is our properties, 121 East 10th Street and 127th East 10th Street, two houses that are used for apartment purposes. BLN had appraised those at $210,000. The property owner, Mr. Santana, responded with a $500,000 request, but upon retaining counsel, that offer was reduced to a more realistic $299,000. In our last negotiations, he had authorized me to go to $270,000, which I did. And in response, he came back to $277,500. So again, we're only $7,500 difference. Same thing as I said before, we'll more than eat that cost up in appraisal costs. And would look to approval of the acquisition for $277,500.
I move for approval for $277,500. And what is the actual address?
Two addresses, two structures, 121 East 10th Street and 127th East 10th Street.
For 121 East 10th Street and 127 East 10th Street.
Second.
A motion and a second. Go to roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes for the purchase of 121 and 127 East 10th Street for $277,500.
Hey, question on that, Alan. When would they move out of those two properties? When are those going to be vacated?
Each one is a little bit different. There is nobody at the convenience store property, so we can have control over that tomorrow, theoretically. We can have, and I believe all of the tenants in the Santana properties are just approved. They've all moved out and they've already been given relocation funds. The Tunstall property, I think he's pretty much moved out. He still has more stuff he needs to move out. He's asking if he can have until June 1st before the building is actually destroyed. And again, that falls in time frame with NICD, so that's not a problem for us. The biggest one is going to be on the 106 East 11th Street. Let me just one more that there's nobody who's living at Lakeside Cottages on the 106 East 11th Street. Until 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I didn't think anybody was there. I drove by there one day and there's a restaurant. I'd been told by BLN there was nobody there. I was told by their attorney there was nobody there. I said, well, there's somebody there. So then I get a phone call back from BLN saying, no, there are two tenants there. And then I get a phone call back from the attorney saying, no, there's just one tenant there. So I don't know, John. I think there's only one tenant there. I think he knows he has to move out. The property owner knows they has to move out. And again, we're looking at the date of June 1st. So I think that'll happen as well. So I think we're going to be in good shape on all those.
Okay.
I think we'll comply. We will comply with our obligation to NICD for conveying all those properties over there by June, sometime during the month of June, or most of which by June 1st. The last thing is just, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I guess my only question was, so when will the properties be quitclaim deeded to Redevelopment Commission?
This week.
This week.
That's tomorrow's project for me.
Okay. So it'll happen before the end of the week. They'll all be quitclaim deeded to us, and then we have control and we can do what we need to do. Okay.
And then we just need to figure out how they would do the conveyance over to NICD. And I don't think we need to do any approval on that because we've already approved those in principle before we even ventured on this path.
Yep.
The one last thing to just let you know too, with regards to Lamar Billboard, which we also had to take care of because the federal law says it's again our responsibility as part of an eminent domain action. We filed that eminent domain as I've reported earlier. Again, we've really not bothered with any kind of litigation action and with any kind of appraisals because we reached agreement with Lamar that through, and then again, most of you are aware of, and you guys have been part of, that we have that they are seeking a variance, and they have indicated that they will, assuming that they get their variance, or at least they get some kind of sign they're getting their variance, they have requested, and they've indicated they will tear down that structure by June 4th. So we should be in good. And I've sent an email to Nick D on that. I haven't heard back from them. If they need to move that up a date, they will move that up a date as well. So
very good. Alan, thanks for your hard work on these. I mean, this has not been easy, and but the good news is we're seeing progress, and probably as important is we're keeping Nick D involved. We're keeping them updated, and we're following their timeline. So thanks for your help. All right, Skylar, number 10, the vehicle charging.
Real quick, we have, you might recall probably back in, oh man, it's been a while. We were still having public meetings. We approved, I think, $40,000 for a grant for an electric vehicle, for 2 electrical vehicle EV charging stations in our downtown. It's through the mitigation funds that were provided by the VW mitigation funds for the emission settlements. We did receive notification about a month ago that we had received those funds. We received the grant. I have filled out the paperwork, provided it back. I provided it to you in your packets. That's just basically the grant agreement showing that it had been done. We did allocate 40 grand, set it aside. Right now, I'm looking at the actual locations. I've learned a lot more about kind of where those locations need to be. They need to be proximity. The closer you can get them to existing utilities, the better, because then the costs come down on those. So I'm looking at some locations in our downtown that are near utilities, visible in the public view, and also they have to be open for public parking. So one of the lots that I think is a great opportunity is probably we approved it tonight. For use for Arturo would be the lot at 8th and Washington Street. That is off-street public parking. It would be easy to probably install them there. The utilities is available, etc. And it doesn't get used that much other than on farmers market days. So it's something I'd like to explore with that. But tonight, I just want to make you guys aware of that and to let you know that I will have to go out and get some bids for this project, and just letting everyone know that we did commit the money, and I'm going to try. We get back 18,000, I believe, is what we will get back after we pay out. We will get back a portion of that money. But I do believe it is a good opportunity to get some electrical vehicle charging stations in our downtown, as the world is moving more toward electrical vehicles and things of that nature. So that's all I was just letting you guys know. I don't know, maybe there is an approval to go out and use we allocated the funds, approval to go forth with the project and to go out to bid, basically. And I have been in contact with a few providers of electrical vehicles. It's a kind of a specialized people that do this, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess what we could do, Skylar, is we can give you the approval this evening to proceed with, I guess, investigation of best space and all the details related to this grant and so on and so forth.
Yep. And just keep in mind, this is in conjunction with the Sustainability Commission. We partnered with them to do this project. Really, they spearheaded it, and we kind of said we would do the funding mechanism. So it's a good partnership, and anything that I would bring this back to the commission and keep you guys informed where we're going, what we're doing, where we're going with it.
So yeah, so why don't we term this as approving Schuyler to investigate best solutions for the electric charging stations.
Absolutely, that's good.
Is that okay? Yep,
that works.
Ask for any comments from the commission.
Go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
No, I was done.
I was going to say we get 2 charging stations, but each one of those charges 2 vehicles. So you actually get 4 spaces.
Okay. So all I'd ask is, Schuyler, we come back with the next step would be approval of where it is, all the details, cost, those types. Okay.
Yep.
Any comments or do I have a motion to approve the Schuyler to investigate?
I was gonna say, I don't think you need a motion, just give him the consensus to go forward with, that's it. And then he'll come back with an actual formal thing or project, and that's what you'll have to approve.
All right, sounds good.
So we don't need anything. Okay, that's fine.
Just trying to save you from a roll call again, Chris.
Thank you. Oh gosh, thank you.
And then
approval of appraisals for property.
There is some property in the north end that we're interested in seeking some appraisals on, and I would like your approval to go after 2 independent appraisals.
I move that we move forward with appraisals for the two independent appraisals for properties in the North TIF.
Second.
Thank you.
Go through roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
Mr. Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes for the approval of appraisals. Cleveland Avenue paving project, Schuyler.
So I'll introduce this, and then there may be some commentary from maybe some of the council members. This is a topic of conversation at the council. We did receive a community crossings grant for Cleveland Avenue. For those that don't know, community crossings grant is a grant put out by the state every year through NDOT. Our community is eligible for up to $1 million per year. There are 2 cycles of that, a spring cycle and a fall cycle. We put this in for a grant to repave Cleveland Avenue to get rid of the thumping that I'm sure the general public is very much aware of. We initially, I think so it's a dollar for dollar match. The project right now was estimated at 1.4 million. I believe we put in somewhere in the realm, and correct me if I'm wrong, Angie, $600,000 and something $600,000 is what was the match required of it. Originally, we had said that the Redevelopment Commission would match up to $250,000. I think tonight, Angie and Mr. Mack are here to, maybe there's a proposal back to us from the council, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, I sent something to the council and to the mayor. So I think the match was 700,000.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Cleveland Avenue. One of the things I just want to stress that Cleveland Avenue is a main thoroughfare from the high school, from the shopping centers down there. We've talked about some extensions that will occur. So I do believe, it is an economic development area. Also that we have that spec building that's not full there yet as well. So my recommendation to the commission is that we pay up to $350,000 towards that match.
I agree with Angie. I think there is an economic value to this. I know that 20 years ago, or I forget, I think it's 15 or 20 years ago, we bonded this. We just paid off the bond about a couple of months ago. But I think now with the next project we're going to talk about, which is our South TIF connectivity project, I think we're adding more economic value down there right now with making some connections to Cleveland. It won't be just a thoroughfare to get from north-south. I think we'll have some roads that will connect, and I think there's opportunity for subdivision off of those roads. I think there's opportunity for when the new roads go in, for even more development in that area. So I think this is an economic related project.
So that is my motion. So I know you got some discussion that may occur.
Is this going to be more than just a mill and pave? I mean, we've got to do something about the cracks. They're not. It's been paved before and it came right back.
Correct. So what we've done, just so you know, our city engineer, who is helping us out with this project, he's helped us out in the past with the previous CCMG project, and it saved us quite a bit of money. And I would say that the same is true right now. He met on site with Reith Riley. He met on site with a state engineer, a highway engineer, and himself. And I do believe they have a plan. So the thumps that are there aren't just associated with the storm sewers there. They're actually, there's actually something going on with that road. And what they plan on, they have a plan, a design to deal with once they mill it, to deal with each break in that road.
Okay.
So yes, it will be fixing the breaks and then paving over top of it, essentially, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I'm not an engineer. I understand the concept of it, but I would say that I wish Jeff could have been here tonight. He's out of town, but I know that he's worked extensively on this road with meeting with people on site. I think he's even had the brakes cored so that he knows what's going on structurally with those dumps in that area.
Okay, good. All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
How much has the city already allocated to the crossings grant?
Total, Ken?
Yeah.
Like for all of our projects?
No, just for this year's.
Oh, this year we have only allocated. Well, now can I ask you a question, Ken? Are you talking about RDC or is it all encompassing city, RDC, and city, like MVH and things of that nature?
Well, isn't that what they go by? How much the city as an entity gets?
Correct. The city can receive up to $1 million per year. This year, we have only applied for the $700,000 for this project. So that means we have 300 and something thousand left that we can apply for CCMG. Correct.
Okay, and the city didn't. The city entity didn't get it. I know the RDC funded the 600.
That was last fall's submittal.
Okay, so it's all right. So that goes for last year. Just go for next year, or just go for this year?
This will go for just this year, and then we have a fall request for. So this was spring request for proposals, and there's a fall request. Typically, the fall request, they don't let us know in time before our season gives out, and then we have to roll that over to the next year, which is actually what's happening right now. Our 600,000 that we did last year for the north end paving through CCMG is going to be happening this summer. So it just kind of rolls over just because the asphalt plants close in November typically.
Okay.
Skylar, clarify for me where the money's coming from, the allocation line items. So
correct.
$700,000 is going to come from CCG, right?
CCMG, correct. Correct.
Yeah. And
that's
then
the match.
350 from us from redevelopment.
Correct. Is what's being requested right now. Correct.
Yeah.
Half of the match.
And then where's the other 350 coming from?
It would be coming from the city proper, meaning the council would allocate that money from a fund that they would choose. I'm not sure what fund that would come out of right now.
Yeah, what I wanted to get to is where where the allocation was coming from, what parties were participating. Okay, so that's where we are today. Okay, that's what I wanted to get to. So,
yep.
All right.
And just to give a little background, you know, we've had several discussions with the council back and forth on having more visibility on grants that are being put on the books that require us to match those funds. And there is an ordinance on the books for third reading to make sure that going forward, we know of any grants that are submitted that will require funding or a match from us, because we don't want to be blindsided and get into, you know, these conversations that are uncomfortable about, you know, who's paying for what and who's responsible. This is you know, all these streets in Michigan City need to be taken care of. And we really want to make sure moving forward that we hit our neighborhoods. And this is a way of moving forward and still having some additional money to match utilizing MVH funds in the fall with the next grant cycle. So that's why I'm asking the commission to move forward with this.
Yeah.
And I have a motion on the table.
Yeah, so I guess I would, Angie, I appreciate that, Angie. What I'd like to go back and see if there's any other additional comments from any commissioners. I have one comment real quick, but any other commissioner comments?
I have one question.
Clarify something for everybody with Robert's rules, just to make sure we're all okay. So typically, you get the second, and then you do the comments.
Okay, that's fine. Yep. Do we have a second for the motion?
I second the motion, but I also have a question. This isn't considered at all any kind of maintenance in doing this road. I mean, we don't want to get in trouble with.
Correct.
I guess if we're repairing the cracks down to the base, we could say we're rebuilding the road in those areas, but.
We are.
So John, that's a great point, and so I think that's the only other aspect of this that I think we want to put on the record is that in the event that the State Board of Accounts comes back to us and says this is considered maintenance, that this would be considered a say violation, but the city would have to reimburse the Redevelopment Commission for that $350,000. Put it on record.
If I could just interject on this, though, yeah. I think we're good on this because of the way Angie phrased the both the initial discussion and the way she phrased her motion. And then Skylar kind of echoed that as well. We look at this as an economic development area for several reasons. One, the various things that Angie cited, the flex building, the various businesses that are there on Meyer Street, the project we're about to undertake with regard to or we've talked about and then given some temporary approvals on the South TIF connectivity improvement project, all of which leads to the need to have this as a functional road, which it is. Anybody who's driven this just halfway through would know that it's anything but that. And while that road may well be in need of maintenance, that is not the reason why the Redevelopment Commission is undertaking this project and why the Redevelopment Commission would be appropriating $300,000 for the matching grant on this. We are doing it from the viewpoint of, again, as the motion cited, It's for an economic development project, given the current businesses that are there, as well as the future that we have talked about in previous meetings on other projects that go there. So I think we're okay on that, as opposed to simply approaching this thing, oh, we're just doing a maintenance project. And again, I think Angie covered that very nicely in her motion.
Yeah.
So I think we're good.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments from the commission or public? Hearing none, I would do a roll call on the where are we now? The Cleveland Avenue paving project. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes for the approval of $350,000 to the matching grant for the Cleveland project. Next on the agenda, Southside TIF connectivity improvements projects.
Hi. Okay, this is just the second piece. You may recall we just spoke about the South TIF improvement projects. We are looking at Town Center Drive, the Myers Drive, and some new roads that we would like to punch through to make some better connectivity down south. We entered into a contract at our last meeting with Haas & Associates for engineering and design. Along with that, there is some right-of-way that needs to be acquired and some environmentals. And I have Miss Nugent here tonight. I'm so sorry that was such a long meeting. Thank you for holding. So we have on the stove. engaged DLZ for that. They're very qualified to do the right-of-way acquisitions that we need, and they've already identified the right-of-ways, the parcels that we need to acquire. You saw that in the proposal. What I'm asking for tonight with this is approval pending mine and Alan's review of the contract. But I was going to hand it over to Tricia and see if she had any additional comments she would like to make regarding this project or the contract, or if you guys had questions for.
Thank you, Skylar. I just want to say how pleased and appreciative we are of this opportunity to partner with the City of Michigan City and its redevelopment efforts. We're really, really pleased about this.
Thank you. Any questions for Tricia? I might add, so this is a very important piece of this project, because we can design the roads all day long, but if we can't get the right of way and get the area that we need to put the road in, really, we're spinning our wheels. There's also some roads down there that we've talked about, Town Center Drive, where pieces of it were dedicated and pieces of it were never dedicated. The same is true with a portion of Meyer Drive and a portion of Tim Drive. So the goal would be to take those into the city inventory and to basically start taking care of those roads into our maintenance plan. The city engineer's on board with that as well. And I did have the city engineer review this contract as well, just to make sure that he reviewed Tim Haas & Associates contract before, just to make sure the two mesh as well. So.
What do we need to acquire on the Ameriplex complex?
I believe Ameriplex, we are good to come through Ameriplex. We have the road behind the new building where we just put the turn lane. We own, I'm not sure how the curvature of that road is gonna end up. We may have to acquire a small piece of land, but pretty much we own, I think, almost all the way through to Meyer Drive there. There's just some curvature, and I think there's a wetland there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
a little bit.
There's a wetland. We may not go into that wetland. I just don't know I've talked to Ryan Laughlin about it. I'm just not sure what the that's something I think DLZ and then would have to work out with respect to how much curvature can we get there and alleviate that need.
Any additional questions for Tricia? All right. Well, this is I think good project. I think this is needed to get some traffic off of Franklin 421, however you want to state it. So I'd ask for a motion with respect to the Southside TIF Connectivity Improvement Project.
So is it for the, I know we have different fees and phases, so I'm trying to get the total amount here.
Angie, I think you're going to, the motion should be approval of the DLZ contract subject to Skylar's and my review and any kind of changes that we think they're necessary for a total not to exceed $118,950.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was adding up.
Yeah, I did too. After I added it up, then I saw it down there. So
okay, so it's 118,950. Oh, 950. I see it in there too. All right.
There's quite a bit of work to do in this as well. So a lot of legal stuff is involved with this right-of-way acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
So is that all included as far as the cost? It is?
Yeah,
I don't think it's not including the legal cost, though. It's including everything you need for to go forth with if we have to go through any kind of condemnation action or anything like that. This will be all the consultation services, the various other things that Skylar said, as well as in the event that we get to the point of where we need to go forth with a condemnation act, they will do kind of, I hate to, well, that's going to be, well, kind of like other consultants that we've had in the past.
The hope is that by providing a new right-of-way and talking with DLZ is that some people would hopefully be okay with a new road that might offer up an opportunity for them to subdivide. There's opportunities that are offered with public right-of-way, subdivisions available at that point in time, selling of their land, things that they've been probably waiting for to happen for a while. And when I meant legal, I meant like legal descriptions, things of that for the new roads, I'm sorry, I should have clarified that.
All right. Okay. So I move that we move forward with allowing Skylar and Attorney Serenek to review the DLZ contract for right-of-way services and negotiate not to exceed, let me go back to my price again, $118,950.
Second.
Do a roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye. Bless you.
Ken Bear.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. The motion passes for the contract for DLZ for $118,950. Tricia, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah. Next is the approval of change order for boardwalk area of Singing Sands Trail. Remediation of the rail car.
Okay, so this is what we talked about prior at the claims docket. This was talked about, I think, in December of last year. They hit a trail car, or I'm sorry, they hit a rail car on the trail. That was basically an unforeseen. They had buried a rail car to create an embankment. I think it was created to maybe alleviate some flooding issues that were happening on this property. We had to dig down to put some pilings in, and therefore we basically dug right through the rail car. At that point in time, we had to stop and basically remediate the project. The total cost of this change order, and keep in mind, NDOT, this was unforeseen, NDOT picked up 80%. Our 20% share of that is $15,363.86. I would just like to get that approved so that basically formally approved. Like I said, it wasn't unforeseen. We thought it was just a regular embankment there, but it was not. It was a buried train car. So,
yep.
I move for approval of the change order for the boardwalk for for the Singing Sands Trail for $15,363.86.
Second.
Roll call. Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Yeah.
Angie.
Aye.
Ken Barrett.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield. Aye. You approve the Singing Sands Trail remediation of rail car, which is 80%. I'm sorry, 20% of the total from the state. So our portion is $15,363.86. We will move forward from there. Thank you. 100 Washington Street.
That's going to be Alan to tell us a little bit about that.
We this is the project that right there on where we've had a developer come in who's looking to acquire that property and create a condominium project of, I think, 55 units or thereabouts. And we have negotiated, and when I say we, I'm basically talking Attorney Randy Rampola and myself have negotiated with the developer to the point of where I think we're both satisfied, or at least I think everybody's satisfied with the contents of the economic development agreement. What both Attorney Rampola and I are uncomfortable with, and I've shared this then with the developer, is he has not done anything at this point in time to understand what his due diligence responsibilities are as it relates to utilities, as it relates to stormwater, as it relates to wastewater, as it relates to, and the other component of this, which is critical, is as it relates to the Amtrak. And he's not done anything with regards to any of those variables. I raised those finally in a conversation with him last week, told him how uncomfortable we were from the viewpoint of going forth with this project, given the fact that that could be, there are a lot of unknown costs, and that could be a several $1 million expenditure that needs to occur on his part. And is he still going to be committed to this project? And that's just on the utilities aspect. We have no idea what Amtrak is going to say because clearly this project will affect them. And we also know how expensive railroads can be. So we discussed that pretty much at length last week in my final conversation with him. He's asking for the Redevelopment Commission to go forth with approving the economic development agreement. And I think Attorney Rampola and I are in the position that while ordinarily, if, for example, particularly if this was property that we owned, we would not be in agreement with this. But it's not our property. The only commitment that we have made has been for commissioning economic development bonds, but that we would not go forth with that until after he had done his due diligence, and that and part of that due diligence also included architectural drawings for much more improved renderings for the project, so that it was more aesthetically pleasing, particularly that side of the that part of the structure that faced Michigan City, not the lakefront. He is saying that he would include that within his 60-day due diligence period, and he's saying that he needs the economic development agreement executed by the commission so that he knows, so that he can then go to the funding sources that he has to actually get the initial funding requirements that he will need for to do his due diligence before he actually and then that ultimately gets him to the point of where he can get an idea of what the actual project cost will be. I wouldn't even be bringing this to you if this were our property. It would be a non-starter, but it's not our property. We are committed only to the economic development bond, of which we've indicated to him that we would provide him with 90% of which to retire the bond. And the other 10% is that we would, and when I say 90% of the increment, that we would provide to him to retire the bond. And the 10%, of course, we would continue to retain to use on any unrelated projects that we wanted to do in the North Tip. So I'm not sure, obviously that's not a decision that I can make, but I'm just not sure where we are. And I guess I'm looking for direction on this in terms of, do we tell him that we want him to do his due diligence first? We tell him, okay, we'll enter into the economic development agreement, but with the two provisions that would say that it needs to be completed within 60 days and that everything needs to be completed before we ever go forth with making any kind of presentation and getting the city council's approval for the economic development bond. That we would, that we need to make sure this project is completed from a developmental viewpoint before we ever get to the point of where we're putting in our reputation and our authority on the line for any kind of an economic development bond. So I don't know what to do. Like I say, if this was our property, it'd be a no-brainer. We wouldn't be doing this. But given the fact that it is his property, or will be his property when he acquires it, and his acquisition is contingent upon executing an economic development agreement. So I guess, the only thing I would advise, I'm not sure what to advise you on, except for if you're in agreement with executing the economic development agreement, that it be done with the two contingencies that I mentioned.
In your conversations with him, did he indicate if he would be amenable to that subject to idea?
Oh yeah, I told him, I said that I'm not, that I don't agree with, my recommendation would be, if we're going to do this, it's going to be done with the idea that we're not going to go forth with this, with the commit, with this common council until you've done your due diligence and you've made the determination, the commitment to go forth with this project. If he turns out and finds out that everything's there, it's only going to cost him, like $500,000. He said that's nothing. But if this thing comes in and to get everything done between Amtrak and the various kinds of utility or infrastructure, for lack, just using a general term, and it comes in at $5 million or $10 million, he said, yeah, that's we can't do that. Yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying, is that I'm not sure what to tell them in response to that.
Well, I have a couple of comments.
Sure. Thank you.
I recommend that they watch this meeting and fast forward to this time frame of the meeting, because someone can put forth the motion, but I'm not for doing anything. I think they need to come back to us. I mean, they've had plenty of time based on our the conversations we've had. They've had the time. It seems like they want all these us to agree to all these things, and they hadn't done their work. And I don't know. I feel like we've been down this road before. I've expressed in our sessions how I am not for skirting around and waiting on people for us to give them everything before they come to the table what they should have done. And when we know that they have some more stuff they need to do. So, someone can put forth the motion, but I'm not for moving forward. I think they need to come to the table with what they're going to do and flush it all out before we get here. I don't know what the thoughts are from the rest of the commissioners, but that's kind of where I'm at. Is we've been down this road before with some other projects in other parts of the North End, and we need people to come to the table prepared. It's his property or somebody's property. I don't know if he's looking to raise money to get the property. I don't know what they're trying to do, but whatever it is, they need to come to the table prepared.
And I'm in agreement with Angie, and I'll just keep mine short and sweet. It feels like we're being asked to be the salesman. You're either a salesman or a customer. And I would think we're being asked to fund a big project. It seems like everything would be given to us right up front, so we could do this. So we're being asked for an extension, and I also would be desirous of more information up front. We've been discussing this since I've been on the RDC, and looks like quite a bit of time before. So that I'm not for doing this early and then allowing another 60 days.
What do we have to lose if we give him another 60 days? If he doesn't produce by then
well, not 60 days. I don't want to do this economic development agreement. I don't want to.
No, I agree with that. And I think Alan's saying he's got his due diligence he needs to do before we grant him that. And he specified he can do it within 60 days.
But he's known for months.
He said he can do the due diligence within 60 days.
Somebody put forth.
But he needs the economic development agreement so that he can get the money from his backers to undertake the various kind of things with regards to the various kind of engineering studies for the stormwater, for example, the conversations with Amtrak, things like that. I don't know. That's what he's telling me.
So we have to do the agreement now in order for
well, the agreement itself would have the only thing that we are committing to in the agreement is we will pursue with an economic development bond. But I would say if we are going to approve the economic development agreement, I want to put an addendum to it or another section into it that he needs to do his due diligence within the 60 days or the agreement becomes null and void.
Yeah.
But that he furthermore has to have a plan and a commitment to all of that before we ever set foot in front of the common council.
Right. So, yeah, I can tell everybody that, Michael and Angie, this was one of the first meetings I was involved in before the pandemic last year, in Clarence's office with this group, and they seem very buttoned up. They've got the right team behind them. What I would recommend right now is that we table this to let Skylar and I and Alan chat about this in the next couple of days. And I'm just throwing that out so that we can come back with a recommendation, because first of all, it's 8 o'clock. Second of all, it's I think we can. I think they're valid points here. This has been a year and a couple months under that we've undertaken, albeit that last year was a mess. But what I would like to do, I think there's some hair on this one, and I think to put him on a short leash is a very important thing at this point. Clarence and I, maybe it's Clarence and I and Alan and Skylar can talk, and maybe Ken, to really talk about what the next step would be, because I truly believe that I think probably part of this should have been vetted earlier with them. They should have been thinking about this. This is not it's not our problem. It's not our issue. It's something they needed to be doing. They have a very qualified engineering firm and architectural firm doing this work. And I guess I'd prefer to take it offline and then let us bring it back in maybe a special meeting in the next couple of weeks.
I'm good with that. I just think that if they're developers, they should know these things. And if they have an engineering firm, doing that. So
no.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out because I don't know the history. All I'm saying is I know that the conversations have been happening. So I'm okay with you taking it back and us having a special meeting about it.
Ken?
I agree with that.
Okay.
I don't think we've come this far with them.
I know.
And
It's
I don't think we're going to
thing.
let it go this easy.
Yeah, no, it's a simple thing, and
Yeah.
I get that they want to put together a memorandum, and if we do that, it's a short leash. You get a very short period of time.
No, I don't have a problem with the short leash.
What's that?
I don't have a problem with the short lease aspect of it.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess what I would ask for is a motion to table the item number 15, the 100 Washington Street project.
I move that we table.
There wasn't a motion.
What's that?
I move to table.
Was there a motion?
Yeah, I move to table the 100 Washington Street project update until a special meeting has been called.
I'll second that.
A roll call: Angie Nelson Deutsch.
Aye.
Ken Barron.
Aye.
Michael Mack.
Aye.
John Hendricks.
Aye.
Chris Chatfield, aye. Motion passes. So Alan, I'm going to tell you, number 16 is you.
Oh.
I hope you don't have a lot.
The only thing I have to say is that there was an executive session held before this meeting. No items were discussed except for those items permitted by the open door law. No decisions were made. Done.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Report from Skylar. I
don't think there's anything that can't wait till next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our people the public for bearing with us, who stuck out this long meeting. Other than that, I don't have any, unless there's questions that you guys have to me. Okay.
Public comments. Any public comments this evening? Number 19, commissioner comments. Any commissioners have comments? Tom, any comments this evening?
You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're still on mute. You're still on mute. Tom, you're on mute. Tom, you're on mute. Tom, you're on mute.
I mean, you look at a Gavi mission, which comes in here with a ton of data supporting what they want. And you come to these people that have been doing this for so long, and you have nothing. Table it and short leash them by about 2 weeks and say, hey, get it done.
Yeah.
It's just silly. And as the commission, you have a right to do that. This is crazy. You don't do business that way. That scares me about their intentions.
Yeah.
But that's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
And you promised me about 3 meetings ago that it wasn't going to be this long again. So I've got your marks going on my pad right here. That's twice now you promised me.
I will not make any more promises.
You're gonna owe him something.
Dahlia, do you have any comments this evening?
Dahlia, are you still with us?
I'm still here. Yeah, no, I have no more comments. Thank you. It was better than TV to watch this.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Any of the other commissioners this evening have any comments?
Move we adjourn.
Yeah, so next meeting, regular meeting is June 14th at 5 p.m. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I'm not going through roll call. Everybody have a great evening.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.